Two Crime Besties, we are ever so slowly pushing towards the 100 episodes. We are at episode 84 today. Crazy.
It's really blown my mind.
I know. We were talking about it before. I'm like...
Sorry, I have more than... no, wait.
That wasn't a Freudian slip.
May have had wines before we started, and that's maybe not a good thing.
Well, let's put it out there. Yeah. We are recording on the school holidays, which we all know is difficult at the best of times. Yeah. We're recording at night. Okay, another element for me in particular. For you, you're a night person.
Yeah, I'm in
you're peaking right now.
Hours.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm really not. And then also producer Pete made us a really nice dinner.
It was delicious. Really, really, really
late,
good.
But delicious. I did tell him it had to be ready at 6 and it was ready at 7.
It was worth it.
Yeah. He did make multiple dishes, so I'll give him that.
Oh, it was, as he said, was it a fast food court, basically?
Yeah.
Like, it was...
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Producer Pete.
Thank you, Producer Pete.
Appreciate it.
It's the nicest we're going to get. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't expect anything more. And then, of course, we had some wines. I mean, be rude not to.
Well, it is Easter. We've got to celebrate.
We've had some buy me a wines from a couple of people this week.
We have.
Sarah G and Jess. They would have been disappointed if we didn't have wines.
Yeah.
So
we need
that.
I know when you texted me this afternoon and said, shall I buy us a bottle of bubbly? And I was like, what is she even asking me for?
Yeah, I mean, you know. I don't know why. I wanted you to be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I got back.
Well,
so
I was literally
appreciate that.
Do break my arm.
Wouldn't dare. Yep. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been really very quiet and it's nice. I needed it. I had a really crazy last few days of like the term and it was mental, absolutely mental. So, the last few days, I mean, it's Easter and it's just different. It's just the weirdest time of year, I reckon. Nothing's open, nothing's happening, but there's literally nothing happening. Yeah, so it's been very quiet and really, really nice.
That's needed it. So lovely. We've had a really busy weekend. Yeah. A lot of socialising, but good socialising. Yeah. It's been nice. But, today we kind of had a bit of a down day and it was really lovely to not have to be doing anything. Yeah. Because it is weird. I mean, for us non-Christians, I mean, I was born and raised a Catholic. So my family, a lot of people in my family still really celebrate what I would say is probably the true meaning of Easter. Us, not so much in our family, but there's still like a lot of family obligation around it and lots of people who you feel like you need to go and see, and it's been lovely, don't get me wrong. It's almost like like a mini Christmas or something.
See, it's like non-existent in my family in that like we're not religious at all and never have been, not any part of my family are. That like Easter's like it's just chocolate and like hot cross buns.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, and typically like, Easter Sunday, we've always done an Easter egg hunt thing. It's been massive as we were kids and stuff, but my kids aren't around this year for Sunday. So that's my family just went, well, we'll just wait for them to be around.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just, which like no one cares what day of the week we do that sort of stuff. Like it's not like that for us at all of like it's got to be.
Has to be a certain day or something.
Yeah, so it's really been, it's like, the shops were shut on Friday. Like, okay, what do I do?
You know what I actually found? Yeah, it's and it is nice to have you have no choice but to do nothing, which is actually quite nice.
Yes.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Nice to sort of slow down, especially at the end of the school term where school holidays have fallen in Victoria at least this year.
Yeah.
It's the start of the school holidays. It's kind of a nice way to ease into the school holidays.
It is. I mean, we enjoy it. One less day at work. Like, you finish on a Thursday rather than the Friday.
Yeah.
That's always nice. Yeah. But it's just... it's just different. It makes it different.
Oliver went on camp in that last week of school, so he was he couldn't even string a sentence, 2 words together.
No, you guys were walking out on Wednesday and I was standing near the gate kind of area and I was just called out, oh, hey, how was camp? And you were like, oh, no.
He literally, don't even look at him.
I'll
He's
catch you later, Ols.
Yeah, I hope you had fun. He did have fun.
Exhausted.
He was just exhausted.
I know another friend of ours said to me that when she got home, she just immediately had to get her daughter in the shower because she stank.
I empathise with that. I absolutely empathise with that.
But they went somewhere where they had showers.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely had showers.
Like, because I remember coming home from, like, we did a full week camp, like, in about year 9, I reckon, where there were no showers. So when you got in that car, I had no idea I stank, but I remember my mum just going, oh, fuck, like,
get
wind the windows
yourself
down.
in the shower. Love it. Yeah, I had to, as soon as he got home, I'm like, okay, straight in the shower.
Yeah.
Everything he took with him, bags included, all went through the washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids.
But
Anyway,
they would have had a great
best time.
so.
Grade 6 camp. Oh, I still remember my grade 6 camp, and it was wonderful.
Give him a couple of months and then it'll be like, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was actually
At the
great.
moment, they're still like, I'm fucking
processing this. Yeah, no, they really had a great time, and hats off to the teachers who went, because what an undertaking.
Let's be honest, they had a lot of wine.
I hope they did. I really hope they did.
Yeah.
It'd be very well deserved.
Oh, camp as teachers is next level. Yeah.
Yeah.
They deserve everything, anything they can get that's pleasurable of that week.
Yeah. Even if
then
they
to
just
back
had a
it up
bag
like
of
at school,
M&Ms or something.
there's more than that going on. Oh, God, if you get any sleep for that week as a teacher, you're doing bloody well. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think, it was much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated that they put themselves out there to do that.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that's happened this week. So this will actually be coming out a week after this has happened, or a bit over a week after this has happened, but something that has absolutely captured me holus bolus. Like, I am just so entrenched in this, and I'll give a bit of backstory in a second.
Oh, I love it.
The Artemis 2 launch.
Oh, yeah, your family would be well into that. Yeah,
Oh, my God. So we watched it live because, of course, we did.
Because Peter.
So Lukey was at school, but I kept Ollie home from school that day, and not because of the Artemis launch, but because he'd just gotten back from camp. We watched that, and it's just, to me, it is such a massive thing for humanity. And the other thing that I absolutely love about it, so one of the female astronaut who is on the spacecraft at the moment, Christina, I have been following her on social media for years and years and years.
Yeah,
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She is incredible.
Yes.
Not only is she the longest person to have ever stayed on the International Space Station, it's over 320 days maybe.
God.
Yeah. She's just incredible.
Yeah.
And she is now the first woman to travel to the moon. She's the first female to have gone as far as humans have ever gone, ever. Because now, like today, actually, the day we're recording this, the astronauts reached the far side of the moon, which is the furthest humans have ever gone in space exploration.
That's massive.
It's massive.
That is so cool.
And it blows my mind. And I'm so, like, proud of us as a humanity that we're doing this again.
But I mean, just to bring it down, I guess, a little, it just sucks balls. But, like, I hate that, like, this whole launch and all of that happening has been so overshadowed by the other shit that's going on in this world at the moment. Because this should be far more front and center than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not been following it, and now hearing you kind of going, fuck yes, I need to get on board for this more. Like, I knew it was happening and all that sort of stuff, and I know about it, but it's not what I'm glued to when I should be. Instead, I'm glued to this other shit and, well, how much am I going to pay for fuel tomorrow kind of stuff. Like, which is so bullshit.
I totally get that too, because they're the things we have to be kind of a bit focused on, because that's our livelihoods and whatever. But, I mean, Artemis has had a bit of trouble with their toilet.
Oh, really?
So what they think has happened, and astronaut Christina has been the one trying to fix it and sort it out, and she's actually done an amazing job. However, this is not her fault. The lines are actually getting frozen. So as they go around towards the dark side of the moon, obviously temperatures are even colder, which maybe wasn't factored in.
But you think surely that is.
Even
Surely,
though they've actually
I know that it's colder.
They've been having toileting issues, I think, since launch.
Yeah, right.
Not for number 2s, just for number 1s, just for liquids.
Okay. Well,
Solids.
I'm assuming they're not. I mean, I guess you got to pass some, but like what you're consuming.
They eat.
Yeah, I know they eat, but like what you're consuming is probably a whole lot.
You know what happens when you eat? your poo.
I know, but like what you're consuming is surely a lot more liquid than it is.
No, I think they eat food.
You're not going to sit there and have a steak and veg.
No, they're not eating, but they're eating like dehydrated stuff that they're rehydrating.
Okay,
they are
right.
eating food.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be like literally on a liquid diet, basically.
Look, I'm sure they get a fair few of their calories from liquids.
Yeah, I would have
but
thought they'd be like sucking back on, what do you call it?
Sustagen or something.
Sustagen stuff like that.
I think they actually have a slightly more varied diet than that.
Wow, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, yes, they do poo. Apparently the poos haven't been as much of an issue because they can kind of pass through, but it's the liquids that are kind of getting trapped.
Well, I guess, are they freezing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then blocking tubes and stuff. So they're having to wee into bags.
Yay. That's great. Yeah. That would not be fun.
Well,
again,
I just feel like going to the toilet in space wouldn't be fun at the best of times, let alone then having to pee into a bag.
For men, it would be probably easier.
Oh, yeah, because you just put your
dick
your thing in the hole.
You'll be fine. Whereas for women, it's just not as convenient.
It's not as easy.
It's not.
Definitely not as easy.
No.
I was reading a thing about the first woman who ever went to space, and it was like maybe a 2 or 3 day mission. Don't quote me on that because I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were like, oh my God, what if she gets her period up there? And they sent...
There's a whole song that they wrote about that, about how many tampons she needed.
They sent 100 tampons.
Have you heard that song?
Does anyone... No, I don't think I
have to find it.
But I'm like, does anyone actually understand how the female body works?
No, literally these rocket scientists do not know how the female body works. I've got to find this song.
In one outing, in one period, you don't need 100 tampons. Like for the whole, the whole time. She was only going for a few days. She certainly didn't need 100 tampons.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, God, I've got to find the song. It's really going to annoy me. I'll play it. I'll put it on our socials if I find it.
Please do.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, anyway, just love it. I've been glued, and I think maybe by the time this comes out, they'll almost be back, or they'll be back. So, can't wait.
I actually somewhat related to this. I ended up watching The Dish with my oldest son the other day.
We were talking about this the other day because we watched it with our kids.
Oh, did you?
It's so good.
Such a good movie. Watch that. And I hadn't seen it in years.
Oh.
And so I sat, and because he's into science, he loves his science stuff. That I like. The youngest one, of course,
Australia had a hand in this Artemis launch as well.
They did.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yep.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Because Mason was just blown away, but he now wants to go
of course. To
parks. And I was like, okay, we'll put it on our bucket list of things to do. But because it's such a cool movie. That's so funny, that movie too.
It's so good.
Typical Australian kind of style movie.
Don't you just want to hug him? Oh, I just love him.
So good. That movie's really good.
It is.
Oh, yeah, good timing for it.
Any of our international listeners who haven't watched, watch The Dish. It is. It really gives you an idea of what Australia was like back in the 60s. It was in the lunar landing.
Yeah.
Late 60s. Yeah. Very good. Now, school holiday plans. I know you haven't had the boys, but you're coming up for having them. Where are you at with what you're going to do with them to entertain them?
We're going to do some go-karting, I think, if they've got fuel.
If they're not charging you $87 a lap.
Yeah. I will go do that most likely because that's what they would love to do every school holidays, my two. It's one of their obsessions. So we always try and do that in the school holidays, which I figure I'm kind of doing myself a favour in doing it because I figure I'm training them for when they're driving cars later. So I always feel like this is a good thing. Is it
a good thing that they're racing?
Just that they get the feel of being in control of a vehicle. And look, I come back from a bit of a rally car racing background, so I'm kind of like, I kind of get that it's going to be hairy no matter what when my kids are driving. Yeah. But I'm built for it, I think. And
ask us in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. As long as I just want them to be able to keep the car straight, and I watch them do this, and I can see over when they start to when they finish doing their laps of how much better they are at cornering.
Okay,
you sort of can see that they get the feel of the vehicle.
Okay. Well, that's
and
good.
Understand it a bit more.
I remember when my dad was teaching my brother how to drive.
Yeah.
And they came home one day screaming at each other because
time you do it.
My dad was like, "This is not a video game. It doesn't handle like GTA."
See, your parents, my parents had very different ideas of how you teach someone to drive. So my dad, my first lesson in the car with my dad, ever getting in the car, was we're going down the Geelong freeway, 100k an hour, and Dad was teaching me how to use the cruise control. It was my first experience of being behind the wheel.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, well, I say first experience being because I grew up going to farms and stuff. So yes, I had ridden motorbikes and all these sorts of things and driven cars around paddocks. So it was, I guess, a little bit different. But that's why I want my kids to have that as their first kind of experience for driving, than getting on the road with other cars. Whereas my road experience on the road with other cars on a bloody big freeway, learning how to use the cruise control.
Well, I remember my dad took me, because my dad had a manual car and I wanted to learn in a manual.
Yeah.
And my dad took me to some factories not far from where we lived at the time.
Yeah.
And it was peak hour when we were coming back, and he's like, "Oh no, you can drive home." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Brand new driver, manual car. Anyway, we were at a hill.
Oh shit.
And we got stopped at the traffic light, and I was like, fuck, I'd never done a handbrake start on a hill. Ooh. Like, Dad had taught me how to do it on a flat.
Yeah,
never done one on a hill. So we're and do you think I could fucking get this car going?
Oh, no.
I could not get it going. I reckon it was 2 or 3 changes. I was crying immediately. I think it was 2 or 3 changes of lights before I actually got the car going, and there were people beeping me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm brand new. It was so stressful. It was so stressful.
Oh God, I'll never remember.
But my dad's very patient.
Oh, your dad is.
Yeah.
Whereas my mum was not. She was like teaching us to drive. She was not patient.
Yeah.
My dad, he was like, yeah, cool, yeah. I remember that, like, Dad showing me which buttons to press and stuff for the cruise control. My mum in the back going, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't teach her."
She actually needs to learn how to actually drive. My mum, I don't even know if she knows this story. So, Mum, if you're listening, close your ears. On my L plates, we were coming home from the country. So my dad grew up in the country, 3.5 hours away from where we lived.
Yeah.
And we were coming, and I'm talking country roads, right? We never used to come home the freeway because, I mean, that's a bullshit way to go. You go the back way. And so, and I kind of knew the way. I'd never driven it before. I was on my L's.
Yeah.
And we were driving home. My brother was in the back seat, so... and then all of a sudden we look over and Dad's just having a little kip in the front seat. Matthew and I managed to navigate ourselves the way home.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until after that I was like, oh, Dad probably should have been awake for that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But clearly he had trust in you.
Clearly. He wasn't worried. No. Obviously he wasn't worried, not nervous. I am a good driver.
Well...
Just ask my kids. I'm a really good driver. No road rage.
That you've yelled at.
Road rage at all.
Never. Emma does not have.
Have I told you about my road? Like, this was actually an embarrassing road rage incident.
No, that you don't have embarrassing road rage.
I was driving home from work, and I actually called my work colleague for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember why. Whatever, it doesn't actually matter. And anyway, I'm driving along, and I just sort of kind of turned maybe 2 or 3 streets away from work, and I'm going down a fairly main-ish road, and the person in front of me was going in the right-hand lane. It was an 80k zone, going 60.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm like, fuck this shit. So I'm like, beep, beep, beep. I'm so aggressive. It's horrible. It's actually horrible. But I'm like, beep, beep, beep. Anyway, I go around this person. I'm like, screaming at them, putting my finger up the window. And then I look over. I look over, and it's a work colleague of mine, not the one I was talking to on the phone. And I
know them.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
You were just saying hi.
I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, it's this person. And she's like, oh, my God.
That's so
And then so I just kind of pretended like everything was fine. And I was just driving.
Hi.
But don't go 60 in the right-hand lane in an 80k road.
Well, I always say, have I even spoken to Emma while she's driving if I don't hear her yell abuse?
Do you remember that time I was coming out of a car park and someone was like yelling at me and I was like, stop it! I'm doing it! And you were trying to yell at the person too.
Oh, there's been so many.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. We have a long history of calling each other whilst driving, and at some point, inevitably, Emma's going to yell abuse at somebody.
Oh, I mean, just just don't be a fucking dickhead.
No, don't be a dick. As I tell my boys every day when they get out of the car for school, just don't be a dick.
Have a great day. Don't be a dick.
That's my exit car.
Yeah. It's not hard.
No.
We were meant to be on a road trip at the moment.
Yes.
But obviously given the fuel crises and
flooding
in deserts and stuff, we've actually postponed our trip till probably this time next year. So that's opened up the school holidays for us a lot.
Yep.
A lot.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're sort of going, oh, what are we going to do now?
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm in the planning stages of what we're going to do this week.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I'm back at work next week, so
very
for
good.
the second week of the school holidays. Yeah, very good. Just really quickly to everyone, we've got a bit of a merch update as well.
Oh, yeah?
Merch is coming. We are just waiting on samples to make sure the quality is good.
Yep.
And then we're going to be right to go. So keep an eye on our socials. It won't be far away when this episode comes out. So
and we may do a little giveaway of some sort.
Yes, we will.
Just a little hint.
We've got to still figure out how we're going to do that and what we're going to do.
It will happen somehow.
Going to do that.
We have lots of things planned.
That's right. So stay tuned, besties.
We make it happen eventually.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a couple of shout outs before we get started for today.
For
so
sure.
we've got M, who loves the fact that we call all of these pieces of shit charismatic. She's like, every time you mention charismatic, she has a little chuckle to herself. It's like an in-joke for her.
Yes.
Erin, who's one of our Patreons, has commented a few times on different bits and pieces in the last week or two. And then Louise Milne as well. She sent us a really lovely message over the week. So thank you to everybody for reaching out, commenting. We read them all. Whether we can get back to them all, we try. The other day, I actually replied to something that was over maybe a month old.
Oh, God, have I missed one? Yeah.
No. But I was like, oh, sorry to that person. We do try. We really, really do try.
I sort of, sometimes I sort through and I start replying. And because when you reply, that one then goes to the top.
Yes, exactly. And then you can't filter where
I can't work out where I was up to. And
I have the same issue.
That has happened where I've then missed someone potentially. And then I go back later going, oh, my God, did I not do that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good. We do get there eventually.
Yes. So today we are doing a two-parter. So today's part one of a two-parter about the family murders in Adelaide in South Australia.
The spirit of Easter. Jesus Christ.
You and I were both just saying before, we've both kind of struggled this week. This has been hard.
It has.
And coming off the back of the Bernies, I don't know. I feel like this has been a really tough swing.
As I said to you, I needed to find light, like things to watch on TV and things in between because, real heavy. Really heavy. And I mean, I didn't think I knew as much as I knew about this case. I think I didn't realise that things that I knew were considered the family murders. I think that's because when I started getting into it, I'm like, oh no, I've read this before and I've heard this before and I pieced it all together. I think it's one of those things where I've kind of gone, yeah, I've heard this, but hadn't consolidated it all into being under this bracket. I have to admit though, I remember when we were doing the Beaumont children and Bevan Spencer von Eyman came up in that, and I was like mortified when I was reading about him then, and now we come back around and get to sort of discuss him here, that it's like, oh my God.
And how he actually ended up. Yeah, it's
yeah.
I'm so there's a lot. There's so a lot there.
I don't even know if we'll cover everything, and because there is so much of this that people connect to it.
That's right. And that's the thing, like there's a lot of things in this case are unproven, unsubstantiated, untested in court.
Yes, a lot
and
of that.
so it is a really tough thing to kind of weed out what we want to talk about in these episodes because
definitely.
There's hundreds of cases potentially connected to these people who again, we don't even know who all those people are.
No.
So it's a really tough I found it really tough to research.
It's really hard to research because there's names that are suppressed to do with it as well. So in looking at from different perspectives of trying to find research on it, when you start sort of getting into places where you go, well, I can't get any further there because that name is, I don't know who that name is that I'm looking for, is really hard.
Yep.
And then there's the whole, why is that?
What's
going on
100% be getting into that. Maybe next episode we'll more be talking about that.
Yes.
But
we will try and do this in a format that we can follow through of like what the information is.
Yeah, as much as we can. Like when we were talking about how we were going to sort of split this up, even then there's some crossover, but we're going to do our best to kind of keep things in an order that will make sense to people.
I'm relying on Emma for that.
Yeah. Don't worry.
My brain works in odd ways. So, shit will pop in everywhere.
So let's first start by talking about the time.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So we're talking about late 1970s, early 1980s in the very quiet, or what was the very quiet city of Adelaide. And I think, the perception out there is that Adelaide is a quite sleepy little
town. Where they call it City of Churches. It's called. Well, yeah. Is it?
Is it? And why is it called that? I mean, I know there's a lot of churches. But also it is, described as like a giant country town.
Yes.
Adelaide is the capital of South Australia, one of our states, but not that many people live there. I think in the state of South Australia, I think there's only roughly 1 million people.
Yeah.
In the city of Melbourne where we are, there's 3 million people. I think there's 5 million in Victoria. So when we're talking about the amount of people in the state, it's a fifth of the state that we live in. And so that kind of gives a little bit of context for us, especially, and for those who live in Victoria, in terms of how small the city really is.
Size-wise, though, it's
huge.
In terms of, size, it is just as big as Victoria, in a different shape,
Yeah.
But the population is a lot smaller. So it's a really, have you spent much time, you've recently travelled through Adelaide doing through South Australia. I've not spent a lot of time in South Australia. I've sort of done Robe and Victor Harbour, those sorts of, beachside towns or sort of thing, extension from the Great Ocean Road Beach, sort of stuff. But I've actually never been to Adelaide.
Okay.
So I've sort of skipped over it.
Yep.
So it's not somewhere I'm that familiar with in that sense, but quite familiar with the number of murder cases that come out of it.
Well, we've talked about this before. Like Adelaide comes up a lot when we're looking at Australian true crimes.
Yeah.
They've got a disproportionate amount of crimes, and especially like really brutal crimes. I mean, we've covered Snowtown. That's right. The Beaumont children.
Yeah.
What about the girls who went missing from the Adelaide Oval? We haven't covered that. That might be more a Patreon type episode. There's not a huge amount in that case. But when I say that, though, those girls are still missing to this day.
Yeah.
And I think most people would probably have a little bit of an idea about what that case is about. But, those 2 little girls went missing from Adelaide Oval one day. Never to be seen again. And there's a lot of cases like that that come out of Adelaide.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, look at Ivan Milat, there's just so much there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we said, it's known as the City of Churches, but it also sort of gets called the City of Corpses for that reason.
Fair.
So
that's so fair.
Yeah, it is known just that there's some real, and what I find interesting about the cases that come out of Adelaide, it's not even how many cases that come out of Adelaide, it's the bizarreness of them.
Yeah, and the complexity of it. And there's some real interesting people who choose to call Adelaide home.
Yeah.
And the other thing, though, that I've found is that in a lot of cases, it's people emigrating or migrating to South Australia. It's not people who've naturally been born there.
Yeah.
So maybe it attracts a certain type of person.
True.
Because it's quiet and it's maybe a little unassuming, and you can maybe hide out a bit more there. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, it flies under the radar.
Yeah, it really does. So the family murders are a series of murders. We don't actually even really know exactly how many are attributed to this family, and we will get into a lot more about why it's called that and who's involved as we go along. But this happened
between 1979,
78, 79.
Yeah, 1983-ish is where we're sort of plonking this that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about 5, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Of like murders that occurred, but as we said, I mean, I could find like numbers of about 150 plus.
I read in places like
200. This is it. I mean, I was conservatively like going like 150 would be, I feel like easy number to say conservatively, that there aren't that many sort of people who could be said to be affected by this.
Yeah, so we're not necessarily
murdered,
talking. That's right. We're not talking about necessarily that it led to murder.
No,
but I think what we can say is that this is a really typical escalation that we can see because potentially. I mean, again, no one's been convicted of all of this. So, well, certainly haven't been convicted of all of it. And so there's a lot that we don't actually know. Preceding this 1979 case that we're going to talk about in a moment were a lot of stories that have slowly come out over time of men being targeted and raped and kidnapped and then let go.
Tortured.
And then absolutely tortured. And so what I guess the first case we're talking about was just the first murder. It wasn't actually the first assault, the first kidnapping, the first, as you said, torture of these young men.
Well, in that, that fit the same demographic, I guess, and fit the same MO, I guess, because there are some other murders that occur prior to these that could be connected and have slightly different reasonings around them, I guess, that involve different aged people to what we're going to talk about, all that sort of thing. So but they seem to be, from what people have come to with now with information, piecing things together, they seem to be also linked to what's gone on.
I think it's also probably I think we probably need to look at some of the things with a bit of a hat on, or what, I don't know, but to think of it as a lot of armchair detectives have their say in this. And I think it's muddied the waters in a lot of these cases. And I'm not saying it's for the better or for the worse.
No, because the thing is, if all these people hadn't come to this and bringing this information and finding this out, what were the fucking police doing?
Yeah.
Who was supposed to be. I mean, we can get angry about that as we go.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been looked into, and why is that? And why then has it been that it's been needed to be armchair detectives to come in and find information out?
Yeah.
I mean, I say armchair detectives. Some of them have been, journalists, know what they're doing.
Like investigative
journalists have done a lot on this case.
Yeah.
So it definitely comes with supported evidence.
Yep.
But there's others that don't as well. So it's trying to pick through the weeds of all of that to try and find the information that we're going to bring you today, because that was kind of tricky. I found that you could definitely find information all over the place about people saying, I know someone who knows someone who said this.
And that's what I found when I was researching this. It's a lot of someone told me something.
Yeah.
Okay, but where's that person? And that person's either not able to be found, is deceased, or is not willing to come forward. And then how do you corroborate that?
Or even those that have come forward, again, how do you corroborate what they're saying too? Because, or are they exaggerating
or jumping on a bandwagon?
Yeah, so it's really tricky in places to know what is real and what's facts.
That is very, very, very true. So we're going to be talking specifically about these cases today of these young men who were kidnapped, brutally assaulted, drugged and murdered, and how that all came about and what came after.
Yeah.
They are known as the family murders, and we will get to that, why they were called that probably in next week's episode.
Yeah.
So the first case occurred on the 17th of June in 1979. Now, this is just absolutely horrific. They are all absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
The first boy, now he was a boy. He was 16 years of age at the time of his kidnapping and murder. His name was Alan Barnes, and he was a handsome, carefree, sarcastic, cheeky young man.
Like a surfer dude.
Yep. Everything, have you seen his mum interviewed?
Yeah.
Salt to the earth.
Absolutely.
I was just like, oh, you poor woman. You can see the pain in her face.
Yeah, and his sister too, who's finally come forward. She wouldn't come forward for a long time, but she's come forward more recently. And again, I just feel for them. They've gone for years now with no answers, really, I guess, which is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on this particular night, Alan loved the party scene, loved going out in Adelaide and having a really good time with his mates. And he had this best mate named Darko. Who hasn't had a friend with a surname ending in an O? Steve-O, Darko. I don't know. It's very Australian. The night So the night before he went missing, but the night before Alan went missing, Darko and Alan had gone out for the night, and then they went to stay at Darko's house for the night. This was a very typical thing that they did. They were besties. They would often stay at one another's homes.
Yeah.
It was around midday by the time they woke up the next day, and Alan's like, I better get home to Mum. And they decided so they've both actually walked down to the bus stop where Alan was going to, try and grab a bus. And it was, I don't know if it was a Sunday or something, but it was going to be a while before the next bus came. So Alan decided that maybe he'd try and hitchhike home. It was something he'd done multiple times before, and it was something that was done a lot at that time. They were in the 70s. We've talked about this in so many other cases, the Claremont killings, and not that that's in SA, but kids around that era would often bum a lift home with someone, hitchhike and get a lift home with someone.
Yes.
So the two boys were standing there. They decided that Alan was going to hitchhike home, but they thought, I don't know if people are going to stop and pick up two boys. Yeah. So Darko's like, you know what? I think I might just head home, and that way you've probably got an easier time of being picked up.
Yeah, I think they'd split up to try and get one individually, get a car individually rather than two guys at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what actually happened that day was Alan was seen so this was an acquaintance of Alan's. So this bloke, I think they'd worked together or something, and he kind of knew Alan to look at him anyway. And he was in his car driving along, and he kind of noticed that Alan was at the bus stop hitchhiking. And he looked in his rearview mirror and he was like, someone's actually stopped to pick Alan up. And what he noticed was a white HQ Holden, a sedan with 3 or 4 people in the car already.
Yeah.
And he didn't actually see Alan get in the car, but by the time he pulled off to go again, he looked back in his rearview mirror and Alan was no longer on the street. So he assumed he'd gotten into that car and someone had, picked him up hitchhiking and was going to take him home.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't get home, unfortunately. His mum that night thought it was really strange that he hadn't come home. She was definitely expecting him to be there that night. Had phoned his friend, had phoned Darko's, be like, where is he? What's going on? And no one sort of knew where he was. So she ended up reporting him missing to the local police that night. Now, this poor woman, my heart broke when she was sort of describing the realization of what came of it, because what she said was the next she kind of knew, obviously she was just worried and it was horrific, but I think it was like less than 48 hours later, his body was found it was like at the bottom of a bridge.
Yeah, it's under a bridge. It's South Para South Para Reservoir.
Yeah. So South Para Reservoir, if it was full, it would have basically filled for the water to go under the bridge.
Yeah.
But it had been a very dry summer.
Yeah.
And the water had receded so far that it was actually just like a muddy embankment under the bridge.
There was sort of a thought that he was potentially thrown off the bridge, thinking that then his body would land in the water and he'd float away and that'd be that.
Kind of like sink into the mud.
Yeah, but there wasn't enough water there for that to happen, and so his body was exposed, and not hidden by the water and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So his mum talks about watching the news, and the news reported that they'd found a 20-odd-year-old man's body at the what was it called? The South Para Reservoir.
Yeah.
And she said she just knew immediately that was him. So she rang the police and she's like, he's not 20, he's 16 and he's my son. Oh, that got me.
God.
Just
awful.
What they found is that he had died from massive blood loss due to severe internal injuries, most specifically to his anal cavity.
Yeah. Yeah, most likely due to insertion of a large blunt object.
Yeah. So when they say a large blunt object, it's really interesting. A lot of places I've seen have said it was probably like a beer bottle or something like that. I've also heard other theories, which we will get to later on down the track when we talk about other victims in this circumstance. But we don't know what that object was. It's interesting, but it caused such trauma to that area that the blood loss was enough to kill a person. So that gives you an idea of just how severe that trauma was.
Absolutely. His body did also show that he'd been beaten and tortured. And there was a lot of other marks on the body to suggest that there was more that went on than just the obviously the rape. There was also Noctec found in his blood, suggesting that he'd been drugged.
Yeah. Other sedatives as well. And he had a blood alcohol concentration of 0.19. Yeah. Now, his mum was like, well, when he left his friend on that day at midday, he wouldn't have had any alcohol in his system. He wasn't a massive drinker anyway, but, you know, to have a blood alcohol concentration of 0.19%, that's pretty significant. Yeah. You'd be quite impaired by that.
Yeah, that's a big night out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the police did receive... So this was kind of, at this time, it was a standalone sort of thing. It was definitely widely reported within the media because, I mean, when a body is found in such a circumstance, it's, you know, it's an anomaly, really, and it's something that really draws people's attention. So it was all over the news. It was in newspapers to a certain extent. It wasn't like it was in there for days. It was a story for a day. The police got an anonymous call saying that there was somebody, they had a name of a person who they thought may have been involved with this murder. And that person was Bevan Spencer von Einem. So just keep that in your mind.
The other thing, with the body that we probably should mention too was that there was a couple of other things that were notable in that the whole body had been washed and he had been redressed, but not in his clothing that he was seen in wearing in that last scene.
Yeah.
So,
So the police were doing what they should have done and they were looking at all of the people closest to him to start with. And so they were slowly eliminating, you know, as they do, going in concentric circles out from the person. And it took them a long time to sort of get to the point where they were investigating the tips that came in through the Crime Stopper type phone calls that had come in.
Yeah.
So let's leave that one there for now.
Yeah.
So we're now in August of 1979. Yep. So, yeah, not very far after this.
No, only a couple months really. Yeah.
A man by the name of Neil Muir, who was 25 years of age at the time, his body was found in a garbage bag in the Port River in August of 1979.
Yeah, this one's pretty awful.
This one's really, really awful. So Neil had led a fairly transient lifestyle.
Yeah.
He was a drug addict. He was trying to recover. He was at the time of his death, he was actually in a methadone program that wasn't working for him. He'd actually become addicted to methadone, unfortunately, on top of the other drugs. He'd held down sporadic jobs here and there. He'd worked at the meatpacking factory, in South Australia. And look, he was very well liked by people in general.
Yeah.
And his family say that he was just kind of a good country boy. He was a bit of a loner, but not in that he was weird.
No.
It was more that he liked his own company.
Yeah.
He was just a really kind of good, down-to-earth person, and he just happened to get involved with the wrong people in his teens, and it kind of put him on a path that he probably wasn't otherwise destined for.
Yeah, yeah. But his disappearance at first, it didn't trigger the same alarm as Alan's did.
No one was really looking for him.
Yeah, no one was looking for him, and it wasn't unexpected for him to go sort of missing for a few days here and there because of his past with use of drugs and things like that. So it wasn't people weren't kind of going, hey, he hasn't turned up today. Yeah, well, that was kind of him, that sort of fitted. But there was, unfortunately, things to be looked at here. Yeah. So when his body did turn up, so obviously no one was looking for him before his body turned up, sort of thing, basically what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
His body was just found.
It was a couple of days after he was murdered.
Yeah.
Or last seen alive.
He was seen coming out of a hotel in Adelaide. That was the last known sighting of him. But because he wasn't as, I guess, tracked as much as a kid like Alan was, in that he was 16 and had a family to go home to like that, that someone was expecting him home. No one was expecting, for Neil to sort of appear or not appear on a particular day, I guess. So yeah, his body did turn up in the garbage bag in Port Adelaide, in Port River. And it was really off. I mean, his body had been dissected neatly. It had been neatly cut up into lots of different parts. Neil did have tattoos, and those parts of his skin that had tattoos on them had been removed. So it's almost like trying to make him not identifiable. I don't know.
No.
Oh, sorry,
it wasn't that at all.
Were they
because they
in
actually,
the bag?
Yeah, so
that's what I couldn't work out.
Yeah, so they dissected his skin and his muscle from his bone.
Yeah, because the small intestine was missing.
Yeah,
that was missing.
There was couple of things missing from him. So the person who perpetrated this then actually skinned him. They cut his tattoos out almost perfectly, put them into a bag and placed that bag. So they emptied all of his organs out of his body. This is horrific. They decapitated him, and to secure his head to his body, they put a yellow nylon rope through his mouth, out of his neck, and then tied that around his sternum.
Yep.
Then in in his chest cavity, there was a bag that was full of, there was his arm limbs, it was his skin with the tattoos on it, muscle, fingers were in a separate bag, and his testicles and his penis was in another bag. Mm-hmm. One of his testicles was in the bag. Mm-hmm. The other one was never found.
That's right.
So the investigators query whether the perpetrator either ate it or kept it as a memento or a trophy. Oof. He was also brutally tortured anally.
Yep.
So in a similar manner.
The autopsy sort of suggested that same as Alan, the cause of death was massive blood loss from the anal injury. Mm. So even though all these other things had been done to his body.
It was all post-mortem.
Yeah, that was all post-mortem. That was all, the actual what had killed him was an anal injury again.
Yeah.
And there was sort of a suggestion when I was reading something, this is so gross, and I apologise to people now before I say it, that the way the body was put together like that was to make it easier for one person to carry it, to make it almost like a bag.
Yeah, okay.
Which I thought was...
Yeah, that's horrible.
Disgusting, but at the same time, like, okay, right... Yeah. Oh, just awful.
In one of the bags that were in his chest cavity as well, there was a Band-Aid. And on that Band-Aid, there were some fibres that that forensics were able to kind of have a look at and try to match to someone. So that was something that was, helpful in terms of the investigation. Mm-hmm. When police started investigating this, obviously they're trying to figure out his last movements, what happened, who he was associated with. And they found that he'd been associated with a GP by the name of Dr. Peter Millhouse. Mm-hmm. Now, he was a GP in the area. He was quite well respected in his field, and he was known to assist patients who are addicts in particular in terms of getting them on methadone programs and prescribing medications that they needed in order to assist them with their drug addiction and sort of recovery from drug addiction. Oh, this man, what do you think about him?
Alarm bells.
Alarm bells, 100%.
Because there's so much of this particular one that words that kept being sort of mentioned as I was reading about how the body was treated were words like deliberate and controlled, which to me suggests someone with a medical background.
Well, look, when the autopsy, in part of the autopsy report for this, the coroner actually wrote, at the bare minimum, basic medical background.
Yeah.
Is almost certain.
Yeah. I mean, there had to be knowledge there to be able to do what they did.
Just the human anatomy anyway. So it's not even so what is also, we haven't actually said, none of his organs were ever found.
No.
His organs weren't bagged up and put inside his body.
No.
They were never found. No. And so what happened to his organs?
And again, we should say his body, what was in the bag, though, all those body parts, they had all been very thoroughly washed and cleaned again.
Yeah.
Which, so that to me is, again, indicating someone who has some knowledge, again, of forensics, of what could be found from a body as well.
Maybe a basic understanding of how evidence can be left behind or how to get rid of biological evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard agree. Ugh. So the police are kind of now investigating this.
But they don't actually link the two at this point.
No.
So we should say too. Yeah, so these two bodies have turned up within a couple of months of each other. And, I mean, I have to say immediately, just by the cause of death, to be honest, that should have just gone, these are connected.
Absolutely.
But that's not what happened here at all. So there's no connecting these two deaths by the police in 1979. These are two separate murders to the police right now.
But also Noctec was found in Neil's system as well. So same drug was found, the same anal injury that caused massive blood loss, which actually led to the death of each of these young men.
Surely that would have been going, well, there's got to be something between these two, connecting them, but
not at this point. So the police are honing in at this stage on the relationship that they found that Peter Millhouse had with Neil Muir. They were acquaintances. They'd known each other for 4 years. There is a lot of speculation about their relationship and what happened between the two of them. When I say speculation, I'm talking about things like the fact that maybe Neil was performing sexual favours for Peter in exchange for drugs and other narcotics that he couldn't get otherwise.
Because I'm just going to throw it in there at the moment at that, and this will come back to, of like the person doing this was getting access to drugs.
Where from?
Mm-hmm. Had to be a doctor somewhere.
Definitely. Yeah. So in January of 1980, so this was probably 4 or 5 months after the murder, Millhouse was actually charged for Neil's murder. Now, it was a 24-day trial. A lot of people I think something like 94 or something people gave, 98, something like that, gave evidence. And the prosecution really thought they had a really good case, but it was definitely very circumstantial. So what they had was they were able to place Peter and Neil together on the day of Neil's disappearance. They were able to show that Neil had and Peter had a sexual relationship. They'd been in each other's company. Did I say that? For 4 years at that point. There was a lot of stories that came out during this trial, one of which was that Millhouse had asked Neil to urinate on him in exchange for methadone when he was like deep in the trenches in terms of his methadone addiction. There's a lot of really sketchy shit that was going on there.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The other thing that was kind of circumstantial given the nature of their relationship is I mentioned before that there was a Band-Aid found inside one of the bags of the chest cavity that was, in Neil's chest cavity. And there were fibres on that particular Band-Aid, and those fibres, when the police went and did a raid and a search of Millhouse's house, they found that the fibres from the rug in his lounge room, I think it was, could have potentially match those that were found. It was not conclusive whatsoever. So
but we're talking like 79, 80. Like, I'm tipping today the technology would be there to maybe more definitively give an answer to that. I mean, pretty impressive. I think
later.
At that point they're just looking under microscopes, kind of going like, oh, yeah, it looks a bit similar. So very hard to pinpoint, but
definitely.
Yeah.
But the jury, after the 24-day trial, came back and found Peter not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
He then went and worked in a fairly remote part of South Australia and was doing some locum GPing around there. But we will probably get back to him, will we, a bit later?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to talk about in terms of Neil's murder. Oh, one of the things I've just written down here actually is that there was a suggestion around the time from an anonymous. It's late. I'm not used to being up this late. From an anonymous tipster.
Yes.
Who suggested that Peter Millhouse was involved in securing boys for Bevan Spencer von Einem, and in particular in securing boys and men who were on these sort of methadone type programs because they were easy targets.
So which again, Bevan Spencer von Arnhem's name comes up again, yet these two murders are still being looked at as very separate cases from the police.
Yeah. The next murder happened in 1981. Now, this is tragic because it involves the death of 14-year-old.
He's the youngest that we'll talk about here.
Yeah, Peter Stognaff.
Yeah, this was awful. So he was so young.
So young and so gorgeous. And his mum, Jesus, did she break me. Oh, my God.
Yes.
She describes him as being musical, a really good friend.
Quiet, gentle.
Really gentle boy and her friend. Like, I just thought, I get that. You know, he was just a
really
lovely,
nice kid.
really nice boy.
Yeah.
Really, really nice boy. And at 14, just, my God.
Yeah.
You tell yourself, no one wants your college-era band tees. But on Depop, people are searching for exactly what you've got. You once paid a small fortune for them at merch stands. Now, a teenager who calls them vintage will offer that same small fortune back. Sell them easily on Depop. Just snap a few photos and we'll take care of the rest. Who knew your questionable music taste would be a money-making machine? Your style can make you cash. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney+.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're gonna crack this case and prove we're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
You are... Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream team.
And new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home.
You're clearly working at
Zootopia 2, now available on Disney+, rated PG.
So he disappeared on the 27th of August in 1981. Now, I feel like, I mean, I've never done this because I'm a bloody straighty 180, but he decided to, in the week leading up to his disappearance, so his uncle actually was the same age as him, or pretty much the same age as him. He was 15 years old. His name's Daniel.
Oh, wow.
And they had planned to skip it. I don't think they went to the same school, but they'd planned to skip a day of school and meet at Rundle Mall, which is like in the centre of Adelaide.
Yes.
And I don't know, just skive off for the day and have some fun and not actually go to school.
Yeah. And according to his family and stuff, that wasn't something typical of him.
No. Like even his sister is like, he wouldn't, like it was
not what he did on the
not
on
what
regular,
he would do.
but
No.
yeah.
So this was probably a big deal for him.
Yeah.
So much so that his uncle, Daniel, he kind of pulled out the night before, I think. And I'm pretty sure everyone thinks that it's very, very likely that Peter knew that his cousin wasn't, that his uncle was not going to be there.
Yeah, right.
And so but he was like, nah, fuck it. I've already decided I've committed. I'm going through with it. I'm doing it.
Not going to school that day. No way.
He left for school in inverted commas the next morning. And he waited for his mum and dad to go to work and his sister to go to school, and he quickly snuck back and left his school bag in the garage, got changed, and went out for the day.
Yeah.
Now, it's unlikely that he made it to Rundle Mall because he was actually seen at their local shopping centre. Now, this is an unsubstantiated report because there's no corroboration, but this witness is pretty adamant that she saw what she saw, and she knew Peter, so she knew him.
Yeah.
What she says is that she saw him she saw him having a chat with a dark-skinned or a tanned man who was dressed quite effeminately with a bag, like a women's handbag, and at the local shopping centre.
Yeah.
She said that something really seemed off about this whole situation, but she didn't really do anything about it. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I'm sure it's something she regrets to this day.
It was a different time too, though.
It's a different time.
Yeah.
10 months later. So he goes missing, and his mum and dad, it's horrible. But they don't know anything that's happened. So they figure out, so obviously he doesn't come home that night. They ring everyone they know. They eventually get on to the uncle, the 15-year-old uncle, who's like, oh, we were actually meant to skip school today, and I didn't end up going. And so they've got a bit of an idea that he's still gone on and done that. It was months before they put together even this witness statement from the local shops. It was way too late to actually be doing anything to really action it. Now, 10 months later, a farmer, I think it was about 50 k's from where he disappeared.
Yeah, Middle Beach, 50 k's north of Adelaide. Yeah.
This farmer is, I think it's now coming into, what would it be? Into
October,
summer.
Coming into summer. So
yeah,
he's
so
doing
he's
his
burning
back burning.
Yep. And there was a lot of, I think, blackberry shrubs that he was back burning, this particular farmer. And when he was kind of like clearing what had been burned, he noticed a body.
Skeletal remains.
Yeah.
Because at that point, obviously he had no idea that was there.
And he wasn't buried. He was kind of like left there.
There was no hiding his body other than the fact that it was dumped in the middle of this paddock land where, where there was a bit of coverage, but nothing major. So unfortunately this farmer has then come across his body, but it's not a body, it's skeletal. But what we can tell from the body is that it was chopped into pieces again. So there was a number of parts to him. He had been sawn into different sections, similar to the others. However, because we had no,
soft
tissue, we don't know about anal injuries. And we don't know about drugs, being
alcohol,
alcohol in the blood. So we don't have that evidence. But the way the body had been left, there were somewhat similarities in how the body had been treated from that little bit that we did have, which,
it's kind of a bit unfortunate that the fire happened because I think it destroyed
any other evidence that could have been there.
So clothing that was potentially on the skeletal remains
a case
still. And
where unfortunately, and the farmer, it's not his fault by no means. But unfortunately, there's a lot lost there that you could then use to, link these to the other cases. We can make a fairly good assumption from the little bit that we have from that I think that he would have been treated the same way, unfortunately, as the others.
I think now sort of knowing a little bit more, because what then came of this is that the person that he was identified with at the local cafe by this particular woman, eventually it was found that this person was an associate of Bevan Spencer von Einem. His name was Noel Brooke.
Yep.
He was an Aboriginal man who was a known homosexual. Now, none of this has actually been confirmed or prosecuted in a court of law. This is just speculation.
Yeah.
I think that's really worth noting. This man's name is nickname of this man is Debi. I've seen it sort of.
Yeah, I believe he's
nicknamed as that.
dead now.
I believe so.
I don't remember off my other notes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
He was known to dress effeminately, which is exactly what this witness had seen. And there were a lot of, again, very circumstantial things that potentially meant it could have been this person. The fact that he's a known associate of Bevan Spencer Von Einem will come into play more next week when we talk a little bit more about him.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we're up to...
Before we found the body... No, you're right. Before we found the body of Peter Stognaff, though, in the interim, because there was quite a lengthy period between Peter going missing and the body being found, there was actually another person who had gone missing. So in the February of 1982, which, was it October 82 when Peter's body was found.
In February of that year.
So February of that year, so 4 or 5 months after Peter went missing, another person went missing. So this is Mark Langley. So Mark was 18 years of age. He was last seen after having an argument with friends, which it was such a silly argument that they had. And now looking back, it's sort of one of those things where you kind of go, I'm sure they all wish they didn't have that argument. But, you had no idea this is what would go on. But he basically cracked it a bit and said, I'm going, and took off. Yep. And so that was the last they saw of him.
Yeah, so they'd been at a family friend's 18th birthday party on this particular night. And he'd gone home. So his mum and dad were at that birthday party too.
Yes.
But he'd decided to go home with some friends and there was an argument over cigarettes.
That's right.
How 1980s of you. And I'm not exactly sure what. Maybe he wanted to bum one and they were like, nah, fuck off. Get your own cigarettes. And so he cracked the shit so much that he got out of the car.
Yeah.
And what happened was his friends were like, oh, fuck him, we're going to leave him, but we're just going to do a blocky.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and pick him up. Like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll show him.
We'll show him.
Yeah. Well, in that 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes that it took them to do a blocky, he was gone. He'd completely disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, you just can't even imagine it.
No, not at all. I mean, it's not what you... Yeah.
So did this happen at like 4 o'clock in the morning?
I think it was pretty... Yeah,
it was like
wee hours of the morning.
The wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Because he was seen by a witness at that time hitchhiking along the road that his friends had dropped him on.
Yes.
And getting into a white HQ Holden sedan. Yes. So the friends obviously have gone back around. They can't find him. They're like, oh, he's obviously figured out how to get himself home. Or I think they assumed he would have just bummed a lift, like hitchhiked home.
Yeah.
So the next afternoon, I think it was, they called the Langley home and they spoke to Mark's dad, I believe, and said, oh, is Mark okay? We had a bit of a tiff last night, just ringing to make sure everything's okay. And they were like, oh, let me go and get the phone. Let me go and get him, bring him to the phone. And they opened his bedroom door and he wasn't there and his bed hadn't been slept in.
No.
So that obviously immediately raised alarm bells. Now, his parents had the foresight and the wherewithal to know that boys had been going missing in the area and this was not something that they were going to rest on. So they immediately contacted the police and reported him as a missing person. Now, they describe Mark as someone who really liked girls, was into motor cars and motorbikes and had a real zest for life. They also say he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Like, he wasn't academic at all, but he was really good at the things he was good at, that kind of a guy.
Yeah.
His friends to this day, I think they'd be in their, 50s now, but they basically, the trauma of this still lingers with them to this day. And how could it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you seen for them because it's
interviewed?
Not. Oh my God, yes.
Oh, that broke me. I mean, his dad's quoted sort of saying, like, what do you call these people that have done this to my son? Like, you can't call them animals. Like, they're not even that. Like, they're just not
like
human.
Animals are too good.
Animals would be too good for them. Like, he just broke me. Yeah. Beautiful family. I really feel for them all, the friends and family of all these victims. But this one's tough.
It was a couple of weeks later that they found
9
his body.
days after he disappeared. Yeah.
Again, his body was...
This one again, it's where there was an element of someone with some sort of surgical skill involved.
Absolutely.
So there was a cut and it's surgical. He'd been shaved as if he was like going in for surgery. The hair had been shaved away from the area
of where he'd been, where the incisions
were.
Yep.
He was cut with a surgical instrument, is what the autopsy revealed. They said that it went from the navel to the pubic region, and part of his small bowel was missing. All the hair had been shaven off. But again, he had died from massive blood loss from gross injuries to his anus.
So what the coroner inferred was that the reason that this surgical incision had been made from his navel to his pubic region was because whatever blunt object they'd used to rape him anally had gotten stuck. And they needed to remove it for some reason. So
they
whether
there was like fingerprint on it or something,
or there could have been drugs, there could have been anything in there that would have potentially given them away.
Yeah.
When the toxicology report came back on Mark, it found that he had mandrax in his system, and now this is a really, really interesting drug. So this drug was actually originally used after World War II.
Yep.
And it was used in soldiers who were shell-shocked and needed to kind of forget what they'd witnessed on the front line.
They called it like a sedative hypnotic drug.
Yeah, it was in significant doses. It was used to kind of almost erase memory.
Yeah.
And it was something that by the time these murders took place, so in the late 70s and early 80s, it wasn't really prescribed very much in Australia anymore. The reason for that was because we had better barbiturates that came on the market that were safer and easier to control and didn't have these sort of like blackout side effects necessarily, especially if you're taking them at the prescribed doses. And so the police started sort of looking more and more into, well, actually they didn't do a lot at this point. No. Again, they're still not really putting together that, you know, these 3 bodies that we've got so far.
Yeah, you've got 3 bodies with very consistent causes of death. I mean, as we said, Peters, we can't say what the cause of death was necessarily and link it to that.
Yeah.
But there's other elements of that body that you would still say could be connected to it.
Even just the positioning of his body.
That's what I reckon.
Yeah, I think they could have taken something from that.
As much as these bodies were being dumped in very different areas, like they're quite vast away, like they're distance apart from each other. It's not like they're going to a same area to dump these bodies, but the way that they're being dumped is very similar. They're not being hidden. They're just being plonked, really.
That's it.
They weren't buried. They weren't, no, there was none of that. They were, and again, we should say, with Mark's body, he was washed.
Yep.
And also dressed in clothes that were not his when his body was found.
Yeah.
So there are so many elements to each of these that are so similar that I even believe that Peters, you could connect enough to say.
I fully agree with
I get
that.
it in terms of the court, in sort of like convicting someone. I can fully understand maybe saying, let's leave that one alone because we can't get as much on it. But you would, as a police officer, you'd have to be saying, really, let's look at this. We've got 4 bodies, not one.
Yeah, but even like looking at the circumstances in the lead up to his disappearance, you've got to like take something from that.
I completely agree. Yeah. I can understand it from a legal stance going too much, you know, there's too much area of grey there that we could get stuck.
Yeah.
Like I can understand it in that sense. But in terms of an investigative thing, yes, link it and put it in the pile of the same. They all fit together to me. Mm-hmm. Yes,
I fully agree with you.
But that's not what happened here.
No,
and I will come back again. I reckon next week about why not.
Yeah,
why was that being the case?
Where are we at?
Because I'm not a trained detective.
As much as we'd like to think we are.
No. Yeah, and I feel like that's fairly obvious.
Yeah, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I fully agree. So let's just recap a little bit. We've got a pattern forming.
Yes.
We've got young male victims. There's signs of a very controlled, deliberate action that is evident with all of them.
All of them, yeah.
the planning's there. The remote body disposal is there. The fact they're not buried is there.
Drugs in the system, alcohol in the system.
All of it. The fact that they're kidnapped off the side of a road.
Transported to a second location. They're all being picked up off of one location, taken to another.
Yeah.
The sexual abuse, extreme torture. Tick, tick. They're all being linked by this same
all
thing.
Ticked.
Yeah.
And they're all leading towards the family.
Bodies being washed, redressed. Yeah.
All of it. So we're going to come back next week, guys. We're going to leave it here for this week.
Yeah.
We're going to come back next week and talk a lot more about who they are, who the primo person is, or who we think the primo person is.
We've got one more victim that we'll come to that sort of is the turning point.
The turning point, absolutely. So please, please, please join us again next week for the conclusion of this episode. Thank you for joining us this week. We really, really appreciate it. We hope everyone had a wonderful Easter.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like for you. I know we've had Passover as well.
Yes.
So there's, been a lot of celebrations going on.
However you do this at this time of year, Greek Easter, you're a bit late. But
Orthodox Easter.
Haven't started all that yet. I think it's...
Well, by the time this comes out, Orthodox Easter will have happened.
Yeah.
So
yes.
You know what? To however you celebrate, we wish you nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
All right. Stay tuned next week for part 2 of the family murders in Adelaide.
Stay curious, crime besties.
Bye.